Do you like eggs? One of the best things about eggs is that there's loads of different ways you can cook them. You can boil them, fry them, scramble them, or my favourite, poach them. But have you noticed that no matter how you cook them, they always go from this, a clear, runny liquid with a yellow blob in the middle, to this, something that's hard and white. How does an egg work? And do you know where eggs come from? Let's find out. How does it work?
An egg.
You can buy eggs in all sorts of places. The supermarket, your local shop, or even an egg farm like this. But do you know which animal most eggs come from? That's right, chickens. Listen to the sound they're making. It's like a little cluck, 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 isn't it? It's actually quite noisy. Let's go see where these chickens lay their eggs. Excuse me. Hello, girls. This is a chicken coop, and it's where the chickens live and lay their eggs. This chicken here is making some rather funny noises. So I think she might be about to lay an egg. Let's go around the side and see if we can find it. But what about the bread? Do you know how bread is made? Let's find out. How is it made?
Bread.
This is a bakery. There are lots of different types of bread made here, and the main ingredient is flour. So I've come to a mill, and here they make flour. But this flour here is made from a plant that's grown on farms. It's called wheat. And this is called an ear of wheat. Inside this bit at the top, we find some grains. And these grains are taken into the mill to be turned into flour. First, the grains are crushed by rollers into smaller pieces. This is called milling. Next, the milled grains go through this strange-looking machine. It's called a sifter. It works a little bit like a sieve you might have at home, only this one is a giant wobbly box. It gets rid of all of the rough bits and leaves only the soft flour. And here we have the finished flour straight from the sifter. It's lovely, light and soft. How does a cake work? Let's find out. How does it work?
A cake.
To show you how a cake works, I'm going to bake a cake for the party. Now I need to mix all of our ingredients together in a big bowl. In goes the sugar with the flour, and then the butter. And now for the fun bit, cracking the eggs. And the milk. Oh, and we mustn't forget this. This is called baking powder, and it's a special ingredient that will make sure our cake rises in the oven. Now we need to mix all our ingredients together. And for that, we need an electric whisk. Watch this. Because it works really quickly, it's going to put lots of air bubbles into the mix. Listen to the sound of the electric whisk. It's like an aeroplane taking off. Okay, have a look in my bowl now. Can you see that all of the different ingredients have been mixed together into a smooth, runny mixture? Have you ever wondered how popcorn works? Why and how does it pop? Let's find out. How does it work?
Popcorn.
When we eat popcorn, it looks like this. Soft, white and fluffy. They look a bit like little clouds, don't they? But it starts out like this, as pieces of corn that we call kernels. But to turn this into popcorn, we need to cook it so that it gets hot. This is microwave popcorn, and inside the bag are lots of kernels of corn like the ones I've just shown you. And we're going to cook it inside the microwave. You might even cook popcorn like this at home. Remember, you should always get a grown-up to help you use the microwave. Nothing's happening yet, but that's because we need to wait for those kernels of corn to get really hot. It smells really good already though. Can you hear that? The corn has started to pop, turning it into popcorn. Yogurt is made from milk, cream, some milk powder and a bit of sugar. And once they're mixed together, they get sent onto the next part of the factory. The next stage happens in here, and it's very noisy. Look at all those pipes. All the ingredients that have now been mixed together are heated up. This is called pasteurization, and it gets rid of any bad bacteria that could be in the milk. Once it's reached the right temperature, the pasteurized mixture is moved into one of these. They're called incubation tanks, and they are huge. Now a special ingredient is added, and it will turn the milky mixture into yogurt. This special ingredient is called a starter culture, and it's made of a mix of good bacteria. Bacteria has to be kept in the freezer because as soon as it gets warm and is put in the incubator, it starts to multiply. The starter culture is added to the yogurt and then left to get to work. And when it's added to the milky mixture inside this incubation tank, it starts to multiply. Do you like pasta? I love all the different shapes and sizes, from small tubes to little shells. And of course, spaghetti. But what's in pasta and how is it made? Let's find out. How is it made?
Pasta.
It all starts with a giant pasta making machine, and we're going to find out how dried pasta like this is made. This is a pasta factory, and all these machines mean it's very noisy. In this factory, pasta is made from two ingredients, water and something called semolina. This is semolina here. It looks like a yellow powder, but it's made from a type of wheat called durum wheat that grows in fields. It's also used to make some breakfast cereals. But when you mix water and semolina together, you get pasta. But we're going to need a lot more semolina than this. These huge tanks are full of semolina. Each one can hold about 150 tons worth. That's the same as about 150 cars. But how does all that semolina get from the tanks to inside the factory? Is getting lovely and smooth, and the metal arm makes sure that it's light and has lots of air in it. When the mixing is finished, it's poured into another container. The finished mixture is called batter, and it's just like the batter you use to make pancakes. Look at the way it's just splatting into this big tank. And now we're off to the cone making machine. Our tank of batter has been hooked up to the machine and we're ready to go. The batter is pushed along this blue pipe and into this metal moving arm. And at the end is a nozzle which squirts out 5 blobs of batter onto this hot moving plate. The 5 blobs of batter look a little bit like a flower at the beginning. The moving hot plate is really special because it's got lots of little squares cut into it, and that's what gives the ice cream cones that criss-cross pattern, and it's called a waffle pattern. Now watch how a lid closes down on each blob of batter and squashes it into a pancake shape. It's ready to be cooked. And that happens in here. The moving plate loops around this hot oven, giving each circle of batter a quick bake. And here are the cooked circles. They look like pancakes, don't they? At the moment, the pancakes are still warm, so they're bendy. But the moment they start to cool down, they start to go hard. So this machine has to twist them into their cone shape really quickly. Otherwise, they'll cool down and it will be too late. The pancakes are twisted into shape and they pop out of a chute at the end of the machine. Now the cones are being pushed onto this conveyor belt so they can cool down and eventually be put into packets at the other end. And here is a finished ice cream cone. It looks great, doesn't it?